operating and all this, and it is really painful. So maybe after 7 years, I was in Switzerland, and when my parents were still alive, I used to go back from India every 2 years to stay with them for a few months, and so that they could see I'm still not fallen into a sect. I am still a normal kind of thing. I still watch football with my dad because I quite like it still now, even though he's not alive anymore. But anyway, so then we had a school reunion, and I went to a very good school, although not very long. I left school early, but it was a very good school. So then, most of them doctors, lawyers, they looked at me, I came as a nun, and they said, "What are you doing?" So
guess what?
I'm trying to kind of work with my mind, and okay, so then what? So you've been doing this for 7 years, do you have any diplomas or what? So I said no, and it just came very spontaneous. I said no, but now I really know when I'm angry. And then they went, "Is that all?" And you see, they don't understand how difficult that is, to really know and then to shut up. And to not to say anything and not to act on it, and to wait until it's calmed down. And anger can also be a certain, when you have to say something, certain nervousness. The voice is up here, then I have to take few deep breaths and wait until it goes down again. But I haven't been in situations, because I left the center in Switzerland after 15 years or so, because I thought that's it, 15 years of responsibility, looking after it, doing everything good enough, so I left. And now I'm very free, so also nobody makes me angry anymore. I don't have to correct anybody, I don't have to discipline anybody, so it's nice, no challenge. But I don't mind not having that challenge. The other day I was thinking, wow, I'm not creating any negative karma because nobody makes me upset. Yeah. No, and also I have a really beautiful life. I was with school kids in the south 2 years ago, and I'd already left Bern, and they asked me, what is your day? What do you do in a day? And so I said, well, I do whatever people ask me to do, and then I do that. And that makes life very easy, I mean, if I can't do it, then I say no, but most of the time I can do, and I just do whatever is of benefit, I do. So I don't have my own place. I go here, I go there, wherever it's of benefit, I go. Sometimes it's cleaning and making the new beds for the Dharma centers, sometimes it's giving teaching, sometimes it's cooking, sometimes it's just doing nothing also, just watering the plants when the people are away. So, wow, I have a great life at the moment, really very, very easy. Because I don't have responsibility anymore. So when you are my age, maybe also it's okay to give up responsibility and to let younger people come along and take over, I think. And it works, like it continues, I'm very happy. If it would have, because people say, oh, when you're not there anymore, it will collapse and all this, and I thought, yeah, well, if it collapses, it collapses. It was okay, I wasn't attached to, put so much effort into it and build it up and now it should work. No, it collapses, it collapses. I know that I kept it for 15 years, it worked well. That's it, I can go. Sounds very selfish, doesn't it? But why, I can be of great benefit because I'm so relaxed at the moment. I used to be quite angry sometimes looking after the centers, going around and not being kind to people also. Yeah, when you're angry, it's impossible to be kind, right? So I'm not saying you should drop your responsibilities. If you're still young, then you have to do your duty, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, very often and unfortunately we do take and need anger in order to have the courage to do what we need to do, or to say what we need to say. Maybe not so much Israelis, I don't know, maybe more Swiss people. How is it here in Israel? There's a lot of anger everywhere. But also the anger is quite quick, but it's not so, how to say, it's maybe louder, but I find it's not so, then it can also go very quickly again, in a way. There's not so much resentment for, mulling over it and again and again and again and again. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I see, but maybe I don't see it in the right way. What do you think?
I'm not sure that I understand what you said. I'm not sure that I understood what you just said.
היא אמרה שפה אנחנו כועסים מהר, אבל גם משחררים מהר.
גם נרגעים מהר.
כן. It depends, I think, for the people. Some people like this, some people like this.
Would you agree with the say that compassion and anger come from the same root?
Well,
The saying is meaning that both anger and compassion
Yeah.
coming from not accepting the reality as it is or the situation as it is.
Yeah. Yes.
So they come from the same root, but they have different expressions.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. When things, we have anger when things don't go the way we want them to go, of course. But as you say, this situation, the difficult situation is when you say root, maybe the root I wouldn't agree, because root, maybe in Buddhist terms, sounds to me like cause. Yeah, whereas I would prefer condition, you see, or basis. So a difficult situation is the basis for either compassion or anger. If it would be the cause, if it would be the root or the cause or the seed, then it could only be either that or that. It couldn't be both in Buddhist terms. Again, if something is a cause, it has a very specific result. You see, if the difficult situation would be the cause for the anger, it could not go into compassion. But it's only the base or the condition for it then to go both ways. The same as like a pleasant feeling. A pleasant feeling can be the basis or the condition for contentment or for desire. But yeah, I mean, it comes out of the same condition, but maybe not the same root, but the same condition, definitely. And then, the first moment of anger, it's not such a bad thing. It's okay. We notice it, but then if we do react, we can still react in a very tough way, but to make sure that there is no anger, because otherwise, again, it becomes too strong and it's only short term, and then the other person gets hurt. The Tibetans, they have a very nice saying, because they're very tough with their kids. Even now, they beat their children sometimes, And Chadha Rinpoche, he said, if my parents would not have beaten me, I would not be the person that I'm now. I'm very grateful to them. But then they say, if you beat your child, your face has to be as black as coal, or if you scold your children, but your heart has to be as white as snow. That's difficult, isn't it? To make the step out of the anger and to let the anger still show on your face, but in here it's totally calm. But we can work at it, we can train it. I remember also in Tushita I got angry at the beginning. I didn't know Israeli so well. Sometimes I got so angry at them because, gosh, they made it such a... It was like, you make a rule, they break it. As if that's the purpose of being on this introduction to Buddhist course, is to break the rules. I thought, well, but then once in Israel, I was here also, and I said, well, of course, that's what we do. We have rules to break them. And I thought, okay. If it's cultural, then why not? Then it's okay. But I got really angry at somebody, and I shouted at her. And then I thought, oh gosh. And then I went and I said, look, what I said, I would still say it, but I wouldn't say it the way I said it because I was angry at you. Because, they were supposed to keep silent, and she came to say some totally meaningless stuff, and this and that, and so and then she said, but no, I really needed to hear it. It's good that you said it like that. So I thought, okay, so again, something different culture here. But still, it's still okay to say, as I said, face black as coal if nothing else helps, but heart white as snow, right? And some people can get really hurt, even Israelis also, when they felt I was angry at them. And then they go, but you're a Buddhist nun. Even children at one point, they asked me, I can't remember, I think I had to look after them, and I shouted at them. And they said, are you allowed to get angry? You're a nun. No, I'm not allowed, but I'm angry. No, see, you are allowed to do anything you want. You're really your own chief, As the Buddha says, mind is chief. If you act with a positive mind, happiness will follow, like the shadow follows your body. You act with a distorted, exaggerating mind, suffering will follow, like the wheel follows the hoof of the ox. That's what the mind is chief, so it's your own motivation. So whatever we do, checking our motivation for doing it is really necessary. And then if we see, it's a bit flawed before we act, then we can change it. But it's not easy. Very often we act without doing anything, and then we have to regret. Yeah. You need the microphone maybe for it to be on the Zoom or something.
להרים את זה למעלה, עד שזה יהיה מנוע כזה.
You have to hold it as if it's a screen.
כן.
Okay, funny. I think the reason we were all quiet before, maybe it's my subjective point of view, when you asked about anger, and Israeli anger, is that even before October 7, we had a very difficult, maybe year and a half or so, and in a way we feel like we are in a pile of anger, of social anger, of everybody angry about everybody else, because we have so much political and social issues, even before the war. Yeah. And there is a lot of discussions about the way we should express anger or try to be together, and whether together is really together or just hypocritical together, and that's why it's a bit of a touchy issue.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to know how to react. As I said, I'm not going to talk about political things, but we can discuss it. But I don't have an answer either. What to do, in this situation. What I say, I'm not judging, because who am I to judge? But coming here since 24 years, and seeing, the situation, the West Bank, the Arabs, Palestinians, and all this, and I'm pretty sure you also, that you must have had also thoughts at some point, but this cannot continue like this, yeah? But then it's a bit like, you're so busy with always patching up things and keeping security and all this, even before the war, that there's no time to think about a solution for the whole thing, isn't it? That it cannot continue the way it is, that people will not start to rebel. I'm pretty sure that some of you, or all of you, must have had that thoughts from time to time, but also because of not having a solution, then, that's the only thought. I didn't think, what can one do? I don't know. Because one of the questions that you sent me is like, so in order to have a deal with the hostages, then Palestinian prisoners will be released that are the only reason for them to be is to come out and kill. Yeah, of course. And not only the ones who are in prison, I'm pretty sure, also the ones who are out of prison, and, like we know Jaffa, we had Beersheba. But also, it's not just here. I'm from Switzerland. A week ago, just the day before I came last Wednesday, a Chinese 23-year-old man who is studying at the Swiss university put a notice in his Facebook saying, I love you just as much as I love my Chinese party. So probably maybe a woman rejected him, whatever. He took a knife and he injured kindergarten kids in the street that were walking in the street with their kindergarten, 5 kids, 3 to 5 years old. A Chinese man. Day before yesterday, a husband murdered his wife. Switzerland. So the world is going crazy. So, I mean, people are so unwell, and people are so, the atmosphere is so kind of not knowing where to put their anger, that they just, they see this and they don't even think, oh, I can do this as well, but they do it. Like, also in Austria, not so long ago, a man got thrown out of the house. He took his car and he drove into a crowd on Saturday in the market, and he killed 23 people in Graz. I don't know if you probably don't hear these things here, because you have this all the time, but it does happen. Here it's different, of course, because there's the political situation. And I wish I had an answer, but I don't.
Because also violence is a term of anger.
Of course. Of not having what you want.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it's a global
It's everywhere.
problem.
It's everywhere, and it seems to become as if angry is something wrong with you, in a way, because anger is catching also. So then, if you're somebody who decides not to act in an angry way, you have to have a lot of courage. The Dalai Lama was in Switzerland the 25th of August. He came from America. He had his knee surgery, and he made a stopover. And then first it was, we got the message, he's coming, but he will give a public thing, but only to Tibetans. Yeah, well, there's many Tibetans in Switzerland, because in the year 59, Switzerland took 5,000 Tibetan refugees. And of course, they came, men and women, and not only monks and nuns. So they multiply, and it's about the 3rd generation. So we've quite a big community of Tibetans in Switzerland. That's why His Holiness comes. That's why the Dalai Lama comes. So I thought, oh, what a shame, it would be good to see him, and he's 89, so who knows how long he lives, and I know the effect he has on my mind. When I go there, you're just happy because of his qualities, So then probably some people kind of complained. I didn't. I just thought, yeah, I was happy for the Tibetans that they could have some time with him and like this. So then we got the notice that they rented the ice hockey stadium with 15,000 seats, and you could buy tickets, and in one day the whole thing was sold out, even half a day. As you was kind of reserving the seat, and said not available anymore, not available, and like you really had to be really quick. And Serkong Rinpoche was at that time in Switzerland. We were in a retreat. We shortened the retreat one day, and we went. And that day was like, then all the Tibetans, when they come out and the Dalai Lama comes, they put on their cultural chupa, and the kids also, and they're very proud of it. So the kids are well behaved when they walk around like this. They are kind of aware of the responsibility they have. And it was so joyous, like in all the train stations around Zurich, there was full of Tibetans everywhere. And people who didn't know that the Dalai Lama was in Zurich, they came to see me a few days later when I met them. They said, what happened last Sunday? Everything was so joyous, and so, it was amazing. One article in the newspaper said, Buff, this 89-year-old man is like, they treat him like a pop star, and it was sold out very quickly. Look at him, he hasn't achieved anything, because Tibet is not free. But nobody honors the effect that such a person has on so many people, because not just 15,000 in Switzerland, it's like wherever he goes, right? And so there was even a comment saying, all he says is like, well, I'm not getting angry at the Chinese because I cannot sleep anymore. I mean, there's so much truth in that, and it's not honored. If the person who wrote this, if they would know how difficult it is not to get angry at people who take away your country, he would not see it as a failure. It was, in that article, it was seen as a failure. And they say, well, why this 89-year-old man, why people go see him? But obviously they were not there, because otherwise they would have felt this light and joyous energy for a whole day. So this is what we can do. You know, if we work with our own mind, if we don't allow ourselves to be kind of follow with the general mood here, still going to the demonstrations, as you were saying, that's okay, but going peacefully. You know, even if everybody around you shout, I usually go and I just recite mantras, and or sit there and do prayers for peace and for the hostages to be released and all this. We still, you know, since October 7th, we started on October 8th, reading the Golden Light Sutra every day, 1 hour on Zoom. So at the beginning there were a lot of people, now we're down to 2, 3, but it's okay, we continue. People say, but it doesn't work, the war is still going on. I say, that's why we continue. You know, I mean, I'm not naive to say, oh, I will read the sutra and then then the war will stop, but it has a good effect on the mind of people who do it, because for 1 hour you read life stories of the Buddha, explanations about karma, about purification. It's quite a long sutra. It takes us about 2 weeks to read the whole thing by reading an hour or like 45 minutes every day. But it's okay, we've read it now, I think 62 or 58 times or 60 times or whatever we went through. And we just continue. And I feel the effect that it has on the mind. You know, I didn't like the sutra. I read it because it was said to be beneficial. So I read it, but I didn't know it. This is the thing, when you do these kinds of things, reading certain texts that inspire you, the more you read them, the more they help you to be focused on something positive, not destroying and not angry, but compassion and connection and loving kindness, enlightenment, liberation from suffering, all these kinds of things. And then slowly it has an effect. But if you read it 2 or 3 times and you think it will have an effect, you give up very quickly. You know, it's like if you have neglected your body for a long time. Anybody is physiotherapist? No? Anybody is psychotherapist? Only one. Okay. Good. They're very needed at these times, isn't it? But if I have neglected my body for a long time and then I go to physiotherapist, I mean, I know that I need to do these exercises a lot and repeat before there will be some effect. I'm not doing them once and then if it doesn't work and they say, oh, it doesn't work, I stop. Right? If we want to have some effect, then we just have to continue, and that can be anything. So last Saturday we were supposed to meet in Monash, but then we didn't because the miklat is not big enough, because 95 people kind of registered. Maybe out of those, maybe 70 would have come, but there's only 30 places in the miklat. It's like 2 minutes away, so I understand that they cancelled it. You know, I also said, I'm coming here in this situation, and whatever they decide, I will do, if it's a group, if it's a group event. Because people behave different when the group organizes it. If a group organizes it, if something happens, the participants expect the group to take care of them. If you go individually, you take care of yourself. Again, I don't know how it is in Israel, but I think, you know, you see it in an airport, right? If the planes are not going, if you have booked your ticket with a travel agent, or if you're in a group, you expect the group leader to take care of it. You're not doing anything. You just get angry, and you have all your expectations. You shout at the person, or you telephone to the travel agent, blah, 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 blah. If you booked online, you just wait until the plane goes. You're not blaming anybody else. So this is why I understand that Irit doesn't want to have big groups at the moment, because it's difficult if something happens. Also the Yom Kippur retreat for the first time is not true. It's not for the first time, because the 2 years in Corona also we had it online. So we'll do it online with David Goldon.
Yeah.
And so again, you know, the first thing that when I heard it is, of course I would have loved to go to Stable Care, such a beautiful place. The first thing I thought, oh, it's very good for the environment that we don't have to drive there, it's less tiring. So you train the mind to always find something positive in whatever situation, right? Yeah, you wanted to say something.
You remind me to talk about the מקלט. יש מקלט כאילו שם.
Right,
לא יש... המקלט, our shelter is there. לא נוכל להיכנס, we cannot get inside everyone, so just the enlightened one will get inside. And the other one just keep on practicing.
The ones who are not enlightened.
I tell you it's...
So the women go inside.
יש מקלט קטן שם, אבל בכל מקרה פה הכל מבוטן, אז נלך פשוט לעבר הקירות ונתרחק מהזכוכיות וזה.
You open the windows.
It's all concrete, so
Yeah.
yes. We also have this stone, so it's keeping us now.
This is also, I kind of trust that whatever happens is okay. You know, when I first came to Israel, there was this second intifada. I was never in Israel. I didn't know, what that was all about. Then I started watching TV, and then I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to go there. Because also what you see on TV is not what's happening in the whole of the country. But anyway, because my teacher told me to go, but he told me to go, I came in November, I think, but I asked him in April, because in the summer I was in Switzerland because my mom had died that May, and the Dalai Lama also was giving teachings in France, so I stayed, I didn't go back to India. And then came from Switzerland, I came to here. So people said, do you really want to go? Why don't you ask your teacher again if you should go now? Then I said, look, I am convinced my teacher is a Buddha. So he knows in April what will happen in November. And if he tells me in April to go, then I will go in November. And if I get injured or if I die, then there might be some benefit in it. Might. I didn't say there will be, but there probably will be some benefit. And this is why I came. And before I came, I really started watching the news every day, and I meditated walking into a bomb, so that I would kind of lose some of the fear. But you know me, Swiss person, totally naive. I was in Tel Aviv, and there was a big bomb going off while I was giving the talk. Everybody jumped that high, and I was just sitting there, and the people looked at me. And they said, wow, you were brave. I said, why? You know, I heard the bang. It was maybe a tire that exploded. I didn't even think it was a bomb. When you're not used to the situation, it's like...
Sometimes ignorance is blessing.
Yeah, right. But I was used to the situation of earthquakes in Dharamsala. So when we were in Inbar, do you remember some of these? I don't know if you already
I've never
came
been
to
in
Inbar.
Inbar, just
So at the beginning it was in Inbar. So there's these bungalows, but there's also like caravans. So when somebody comes up the stairs, it shakes, right? So I was sitting on the bed and I was doing my meditation. Somebody came up the stairs, I felt it shake, I ran out. And I bumped into the person and they said, where are you going? I said, oh no, maybe not earthquake. Yeah? But when I heard the shooting, I didn't react. Whereas now I do. Especially when I hear the sirens, then also I do react and I go wherever I need to go. And I learned the word mamad and miklat. And I learned that when you take refuge in the three jewels, it's also miklat.
That's right.
And I found that very meaningful. Because as we did this very short reflection at the beginning here, when I said, you know, what is your purpose of life? What's the meaning of your life? Of course, wanting to be of benefit to others, but they will die, I will die, how will they continue? I don't know. But the purpose in a Buddhist life is to understand why we suffer. First, that there is. Suffering is not the right word. I still, struggle with that word dukkha. You probably know what it is. It's translated into suffering, it's not. Dukkha means it is very easy to be stressed and frustrated. Switzerland, Israel, no matter where, Venezuela, Tahiti, it is very easy for us to be frustrated. It is very easy to be stressed, you know, the shortest thing, even if it's not a big thing, it's habit. Not, you know, the more you are habituated that you get what you want, the quicker you get stressed when you don't get what you want. Indian people, they're so patient. You know, like somebody is sitting on their seat on the train, doesn't matter, they just sit down as well, and we go, this is my seat, you know, these kind of things. It's like, the more we kind of wallow in comfort, the weaker we get, the less patient we get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all this run for comfort and better machines and all this, it is not only it doesn't make us happier, it destroys the environment, and everybody has to pay the price. I mean, again now, you know, Florida is waiting for the next hurricane. Northern Italy, all the schools are closed because they have floods. Southern Switzerland is the same because it's together. And it's the first time this year that we have big floods in Switzerland because of global warming. So we all everybody pays the price, you know, even people who are not contributing to it, we think. But we must have contributed to it in past lives, otherwise it wouldn't be here at this moment. So there is problems anyway. So that is dukkha. So, but the Buddha, then usually we concentrate on the first two noble truths, isn't it? There's dukkha, stress, frustration, lamentation, despair, grief. There's a whole list that the Buddha gives in the first sutra. And then he says these are the origin of suffering or the cause of suffering. And then we usually concentrate on these two first ones instead of really going third and fourth. The cessation of the dukkha and then the path. So, you know, I know that the situation is really difficult. I know that there seems to be no solution. Looks like it. But something will change. I don't know what, but something will change. Also, we will all die. At one point, you will not be Israeli anymore. Who knows what you will be? You know, this can be solace also, because when the situation is so difficult, we make it permanent. And we think this will last forever and ever and ever and ever. It will not. You will have to depart from this body, whether you want or not, sooner or later. So if you make, because I was here also 2 years ago when I was with the group from Noah, Atzmon, and Nir, and it was the night of the election 2 years ago in November or December.
And they are very political.
Where Bibi came back to the government, you know, and they said, oh, what can we do? And I didn't know what to tell them also because I don't know. But then I thought, Miklat, if you take refuge, because there are Buddhists, like with you, I know that some of you are, but I don't know how much you practice, and how much your goal is a Buddhist goal, which means liberation from suffering and the causes of suffering. And for this is what I told them, for this, doesn't matter which government we have. Doesn't matter. You can still work on your negative emotions and study them and apply antidotes and study emptiness and, develop compassion and all this, even more maybe with the government like this. Doesn't mean, compassion doesn't mean not doing anything. You do whatever you can, but also you don't take the whole responsibility, because you have to question, will you?
Yeah.
To kind of find it.
No, Racheli wanted to ask a question. She was
Because, you know, if somebody asks, what shall I do in this situation? What can you do as an individual in this situation? We have to be also realistic. So it's also okay not to take too much responsibility with this whole thing, you know. Whatever you can do, then of course. Here it is. In the prisons in Israel, there are thousands of Hamas prisoners whose intention was, and perhaps still is, to kill and destroy. Yeah, I mean, putting somebody in prison without giving them an education, how do you expect them to change? I mean, logically. I don't know. And especially seeing the situation in Gaza. And, you know, they are not equanimous. They don't see the side of the state of Israel. They only see what you are doing to them. This is what anger is doing. When I'm angry at you, I only see what you did to me. Then you are angry at me, and you see what I'm doing to you. It makes us very, very narrow when there is anger. Concerning the kidnapped releasing deal, these prisoners will be released as prisoners of war and not as murderers facing life sentences. It is clear that everyone that they will return to continue with their actions. How can I resolve that? You know, I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I have some hope that people can change their minds and say, stop, it's enough. I mean, there is some short, like little droplets of some hope when Palestinians and Israelis do things together. Maybe not here. In Switzerland there will be a talk about from a Rudolf Steiner organization, Anthroposophic. There is a Palestinian and a man who both lost a daughter in the war. They will give a conference or something like that. And there's about peace activists also in Zurich. I think they will give talks. Help to deter people from harming each other. You, yes, I am sure. Hamas, settlers, I don't know. Will they listen? I don't know. Now, you know, I could give you a Buddhist remedy, because what I said in May when I was here, because I was still going to the street on Saturday evening and all this, and all of a sudden I had this thought, you don't have the power of speech. This is why the government does not listen to you. So there's certain mantras you say to have more power of speech, so that you can at least try that before you go to the demonstration. When nobody listens to you means that not as a group, but these individuals have been lying a lot. I mean, that is the result of telling a lot of lies, and people believed you that in a future lifetime, or even in this lifetime, even you say the truth, nobody believes you anymore. That means you don't have power of speech. So we have to work on this power of speech by at least now telling the truth whenever we speak and not be biased. Yeah, right. I was last Saturday, I was in Tel Aviv. There wasn't many people because now they go to Caesarea, I think, to the Prime Minister's house, so Kaplan is not happening anymore, but the hostages. So there were two completely different groups. One was at where the theater is with the families, which is very serene and very sad, but kind of serene. And then in Begin there was shouting and screaming and don't ask me what the right way is, I don't know. I don't know. I think it has to, you have to be in accord with how it makes you feel and how you go there and how you come back. And if you ask me if anger is helping, I don't know. I wish I could give you answers, but I really don't know. So how can I resolve that? So it means kind of, what shall I do? That to say, no, don't release the hostages, and so that the prisoners don't get released. I mean, you don't have to make that decision. If you are in a position that you can influence somebody who makes these decisions, then that answer is justified, but even then I wouldn't know what to say. You know, there you can really say, when we said at the beginning, samsara, whatever you do, it has like shortcomings. I hear, whatever you do, it will have shortcomings. Then the second one, it is a year now since the war started. Things don't look like they're going to get better now. To the contrary. Which self-compassion resources are available for us at the moment? Right, this is a question that you have to ask yourself. What can I do for myself at the moment to not be carried away by this whole thing? Where can I find more virya in ourselves? Virya is enthusiasm, isn't it? Prithvi is joy, and virya is enthusiasm. So I think just to understand how rare it is to meet the Buddha Dharma and to have faith in your own potential to become free from suffering and the causes of suffering, and then to have methods to get there. And on top of it, we have gurus, maybe the word guru is not right, masters still around, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and I'm sure also in the Thai tradition in Korea or wherever, people who live what they are telling us. People, just seeing them makes you joyful and you are inspired. How can we not be joyful? And then it's the big question, you know, because last Saturday the topic was everybody wants to be happy, nobody wants to suffer. And so maybe the word happiness also is not a good word. Same word as dukkha for suffering is also not a good word. Because happiness is, oh, I don't care, everything is okay. No, it's not meant. Well, everybody wants to be well. Or what other words would you use?
Calm.
Huh?
Calm.
Calm. Okay? How can you get calm when you're not calm? Yeah, there's one key word that is kind of very easy, if you remember. Open up. Become spacious. Yeah? To train to become spacious, to breathe when you're not calm, to notice that you're not calm, not to get upset that you're not calm, to breathe and say, oh, but that's not the nature of my mind, and to visualize space, and to think the mind is spacious. But it's training, right? If I just say that and you're not applying it, nothing will happen. Or other methods. So we were talking last Saturday, we were talking about methods that each one has to find him or herself to keep up the enthusiasm in whatever you're doing. Now, in my case, the enthusiasm is to study my negative emotions, to get at them and to decrease them. And I still have enthusiasm for that, and to still go to teachings and listen to teachings and all this, and still think like, wow, you know, like it says in the Bodhicharyavatara, I think it's the 3rd chapter. I know it's verse 28, but I think it's in the 3rd chapter, no, the 2nd and 3rd, where it says, you know, like a blind man finding a diamond in a heap of rubbish. I mean, how probable is that? That a blind man finds a diamond, maybe a big diamond, I don't know, in a heap of rubbish. How is that probable? It's possible, right? But chance is very small. Like that, to an idiot like me, the interest in developing bodhicitta has arisen. This is my key thing. It's like a miracle. You know, I was telling a little bit about what I did before I became a nun, and somebody who knows me very well said, wow, I didn't know all that. If I would have heard that in my first talk, I don't think I would have trusted you. So this is it, you know,